So welcome to another DK Q&A. What are we going to be covering today, Dwayne?
Well, this is the eighth DK Q&A, and we're going to talk about a question from Richard, who asked, "Why do you carry two brands of shocks?" And then he had a follow-up question: "If I choose the plush setting instead of firm, will I bottom out?"
Okay, and who asked that question?
That was Richard.
Richard. Okay. Hey, before we get to that question, it's weird doing a Q&A where I can't see you. I'm parked in the parking lot of the post office in Red Banks, and you're up in Byhalia, and we're both recording, and it's just a little bit weird. I guess
You're about 10 miles. You're 10 miles away from me in a different zip code.
Yeah, there's no one to turn and look to when I'm talking. I'm just looking right at the camera now, which I don't usually do in the interviews. So Richard asked, why do we carry two different kind of shocks? Well, the answer to that's really simple. When Devin and I decided many years ago that we wanted to learn more about suspension, we got most every shock available out there, and we tested them on different bikes. We tested on Sportsters, Dynas, baggers, and trikes, and it took us 6 or 7 months, and we just tested virtually every good shock out there and a bunch of bad shocks. We also went and put a bunch of shocks on what's called a shock dynamometer, where it actually is a machine that measures the effectiveness of shocks. So we tested a bunch of different shocks, and there were some shocks that were pretty good that we did not include in the report link below, but that's because they were like $1,200, $1,500. But what we did is we took the two best shocks that were under $1,000, and we narrowed it down after testing everything. And there's some shocks that are a little about the same or a little bit better, but we're talking up in the $1,200 to $1,800 range, and just not much better at all. So we took these two shocks, which we literally could not tell the difference. They function identically as far as we could tell when we were riding them. And it doesn't matter whether it was on a Sportster, a Dyna, a bagger, or a trike. They just function very much the same. And the reason we didn't just choose one over another is because one of them is more expensive. It is made in the USA, and it has a lifetime warranty. The other one is made in Italy and has a 2-year warranty. They both have very good names. They both work very well. And so the one that's made in Italy is like $300 less. So what we wanted to do is take the cream of the crop without going overboard and spending, $1,800 on some shocks, and take, a very good ride. And one of them was in the $500, one of them was the $800 range. Lifetime warranty, made in the U.S., made in Italy, 2-year warranty, and give folks a choice on that. And I should mention, if anybody doesn't believe our testing, or if you're just in love with another type of shock, we're authorized dealers for every shock out there. So you can still call us and say, hey, I want a Legend Revo A, or I want a Progressive, although I strongly recommend against the Progressive.
Richard's follow-up question was, "If I choose the plush setting, will I bottom out?" Now that's in reference to the question we asked when you place the order: do you prefer a softer, plusher setting or a firmer, more aggressive feel? So if one were to choose the plusher setting, does that mean they would bottom out?
We ask a whole series of questions so that we can set the shock up properly for a person. And we set it up so that it does not bottom out. Ideally, what you want to happen with the shock is when you hit a big bump, you want that shock to compress all the way down to the bumper, but not to compress the bumper so much that you have a hard bottoming out. So you want to use the full length, the full travel of that shock so that you're getting the best benefit. So when we ask all those questions, what we're trying to do is make sure you have the right spring and we have the right preload setup. So when a person wants Plusher, we set it up so that it is a softer ride, but still when you hit a big hump, you don't bottom out hard. We want it to just barely bottom against the bumper where you don't even feel it bottoming out, but where it's using the full travel. And when a person wants it firmer, we just set it up where it is a firmer ride, and then of course the chance of bottoming out is even less. But even when you're on a plush ride, if we set it up correctly, and that's why we get all the information, if we set it up correctly, you won't bottom out, but it will be a softer ride. And there's another thing that I should mention. Even though we set up all the preload and everything and get the right spring on there for the person, there's still preload adjustment and instructions that come with the shocks that a person go, hey, we don't think DK set it up the best it can be, so we're going to adjust the preload a little. And so that can be done. But the other thing is, on the Proaction shocks, there's a clicker where it can adjust. We set it at 3 most of the time, and you could be adjusted a little firmer or a little softer. And then on the twin adjustable, there's a little lever at the bottom of the shock, and we set that at 3, but it can go all the way down to 1 or all the way up to 5. But the short answer, which I should have started with, is no, you're not going to bottom out. If we set it up right, you're not going to bottom out even on the plush setting. It's just going to be a little bit plusher ride.
All right, so you mentioned the lifetime warranty with Proaction shocks. Now, does that cover rebuilds? Because all shocks need to be rebuilt eventually. Would the warranty cover that?
Yes, the lifetime warranty covers if there's ever any problem, a seal starts leaking, or any problem at all. And we've sold hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of these. And I think there's been 2 or 3 that have had some warranty work done on them. But the warranty is for the original purchaser. So when you do want to do a warranty claim on the shocks, you do need to have an invoice showing that you were the original purchaser, and it covers anything. So if you just think that it's not riding as well, because if you ride a lot of miles, the average Harley rider rides about 3,000 to 5,000 miles a year. Let's say that you ride, 15, 20, 30, 40,000 a year. You're going to wear the shocks out eventually, whether it's at 50, 75, 100, 150,000 miles. Eventually, those shocks are not going to ride as well because there'll be all the wear and tear on the fluid in the shock. And so if you just think it's not riding as good as it was, you just send them in and they will rebuild them absolutely for free. It's a lifetime warranty, whether there's an issue of an actual leak or if it's just not functioning as good as it originally was. Okay, so you guys like the video, please give us a thumbs up.
Hit the notification, hit the subscribe, and if you have any questions of your own, please ask them in the comments. Also, share this video with your friends, might help them out.
You all ride safe out there.